We hold it together all day until our bodies finally catch up. The overstimulation, the guilt, the crash, the shutdown, and somehow we're supposed to wake up, do it all over again, and be cool with it. And here's the thing, that crash and shutdown, it's not a personal failing. It's actually our nervous systems doing exactly what they were designed to do. And today we're going to talk about it in the Science of Stress, Part 1. Where does stress come from? Did you know that stress is a full body, full brain response to perceived threats? Our hearts race, blood pressure spikes, digestion shuts down, muscles tense, and even our memory is influenced. Our memory during stressful events narrows down to the focus on the threat so it doesn't forget it. Super useful back in caveman times when we had to stay away from certain plants or caves or water sources because of saber-toothed tigers. But now that stress response happens to staff meetings, disruptive behaviors, or negative interactions with parents. So, our brains don't know the difference between a harmless threat in the classroom, which is called a perceived threat, and a threat from a predator or an actual threat. To the brain, a perceived threat is a threat, and it is going to put us in fight or flight regardless of where we are, who we're with, or what we're expected to be doing. And as teachers, perceived threats come from every direction. Student fights, safety drills, trauma in the classroom, unrealistic expectations, and the pressure to keep giving more when we're already running on empty. So we are bombarded by perceived threats throughout the day, every day, and that constant bombardment of threats exhausts both our body and our brain. And if perceived threats aren't bad enough, there's what's called the negativity bias. The negativity bias is our brain's programming to focus on the negative more than the positive and to remember it. Ever have a really great day of teaching and then it gets ruined by one small event that happens at the end of the day? And no matter how hard you try to convince yourself that it was a good day, you can't shake the memory of that bad thing that happened. That's the negativity bias. So our brains are programmed to focus on and remember the negatives over the positives. And those negatives will hijack our nervous system, putting us in a constant state of fight or flight. It is not just your imagination, it's actually biology. Our brains are constantly scanning for threats. We'll hone in on them and remember them. And ironically, they do this to keep us safe. And unless we have tools to manage it, the stress, the threats, the negativity, they build up and start to control how we think, feel, and react. So what do we do? There are a lot of strategies that we can use to dampen our fight or flight response, create more positive thinking patterns, and decrease our negativity bias. But you have to understand what all is happening behind the scenes. Like, how do our thoughts become more negative over time? How does our fight or flight become more sensitive and reactive? How do our perceptions influence our negativity bias? You can have all the strategies in the world, but if you don't understand those three things, no amount of strategies will help because you don't know the what, where, when, and the why of them. And this can be really discouraging, trying strategy after strategy and nothing works or sticks. If you want to improve your stress levels and fight or flight over the long term, you need to know how to change automatic thinking and fight or flight, how to burn off stored stress that builds up throughout the day, and how to think differently when negative thoughts creep in, how to design your environment so it doesn't contribute to dysregulation. This is why we created the Meet the Needs workshop series, and I want to talk to you about it for just a second because it's absolutely revolutionizing stress management for so many teachers. In this workshop series, you will learn how to regulate under pressure, build habits and routines that change reactivity and give you more energy, shift your perspective on behavior to be less threatening, design your environment to calm you. And all sessions include recordings, workbooks, and 3 months access that you can get instantly. So it meets you where you are even on your most overwhelmed day. Stress management doesn't really have anything to do with bubble baths and taking time for ourselves. It's about having knowledge and strategies. Our brains are doing their job. They are keeping us safe and making sure we don't want to be around those threats. But being around these perceived threats isn't just our job, it's reality. Perceived threats are everywhere. Fights with our partner, being late to work, a disrespectful comment from a coworker, and without the right tools, we will stay stuck in survival mode, overreacting, overly anxious, and eventually burning out. You have to understand what's happening and why, then you can actually do something about it. Not just in theory, but in practice, in our real classrooms and in our real lives. And that's exactly what part 2 of this blog series will explore: how to recognize the hidden stress signals before they take over. Stay tuned for part 2, and if you can't wait and you know you need all of the info and all of the strategies now, click the link under the video and get the workshop series. You'll get instant access to the recordings, the workbooks, the bonus activities, and more. You can even come to the live sessions if you want to. Because the sooner we start regulating ourselves, the sooner we show up with more clarity, calm, and control, which leads to an upward cycle of optimism, hope, confidence, and joy. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and definitely check out the workshop series. The way you handle stress will never be the same. Bye everybody, see you next time.